this meeting to order, and we'll start with Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item of business is the minutes of the regular board meeting October 11th and the special board meeting of October 25th.
I move to approve.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes of those two board meetings. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The next item of business then would be the approval of the general fund vouchers 79015 through 79094 and wire transfers 2022-0138 through 2022-0188.
I move to approve.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the general fund vouchers as read. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The next item of business is our public comments on agenda items. Does anybody have anything they want to share? Okay. Then the next item of business is the review of the COVID-19 procedures.
Okay, I just have something, just real quick, just wanted to say, we updated the letter last week. It actually says Friday. I did it on Thursday, but we didn't service, but it does say as of Friday, November 5th. So that really should say as of Thursday, November 4th. But as of that date, we had 0 students and then 1 staff member. And the reason I correct that, because during the day, Friday, we did have, I believe, 2 cases that were brought, that were shared with us. So total, though, we have 15 from as of September 1, 15 students that have tested positive and 4 staff members. So overall, things are still going very well. And considering the changes that we've made, especially with the close contact, it doesn't seem to have changed anything when we compare it to last year. So those are the current numbers right now in the district. Just wanted to share that. So other than that, nothing new.
The next item of business is consideration and approval of junior high school roof purchase.
Okay, so the junior senior high purchase we had talked about, possibly being part of the referendum, but it will no longer be part of the referendum. We'll be able to share that with all of our stakeholders. We're going to be with our Fund 46 savings, we're going to be able to move forward with the purchase. So I've asked Brian Thompson here with Garland Company to come in and present and kind of share with you guys kind of what the next steps in the process are, answer any questions that you guys might have. He's going to share on a couple of things. So I'll turn it over to Brian.
Good. Thanks for having me, guys and gals. I have just a small handout packet. Some of this information was, sorry, I have 5 total. Thank you. I have 5 total. They're in here?
Give one.
He's seen it.
He's seen it.
He's seen it. He's not that important. He doesn't vote, right?
Yeah.
So, thanks for having me tonight. I'm gonna just kind of jump over here. I've got a quick PowerPoint I'll slide through. Here real quick, we'll turn this over so you'll see it. A little bit of a recap. This is going to be our. We actually did a project for your school district back in 13 and 14. We did a project for Clear Lake, and I just want to review that just real quick. But kind of assuming maybe not everybody knows who we are, who Garland is, but we did do the project in 2013 and 14 for you folks. We're a full-service roof manufacturing design firm, is who we are. So we kind of turnkey projects. We work primarily in K-12 and higher ed education. I personally have been with Garland now for 26 years, and that's primarily where we focus out of. We're out of Cleveland, Ohio as our corporate office. It's where most of our manufacturing and our design team is at. I run the Minneapolis office. I live in Hudson. I work out of my home, and I have a team of people that live right around that area, Stillwater, Mahtomedi, and we cover basically the metro area, and we cover western Wisconsin. I've got a reference list at the end. I'll show you several other school districts. I do all the work for the Wisconsin Technical College system in the state. But I just wanted to let you know who kind of we are and who I am, and I'll walk through the process of what we're going to provide you folks here in a little bit. But we do all building envelope work. Anything from tuck pointing to roofing is kind of our specialty. So here's what you have currently right now. The projects, like I said, in 14, kind of these aqua colored projects, those are the projects that we were involved with that we did. They're currently under warranty for the next 30 years from 2014. They are modified built-up roofs, really thick, really redundant. I'm going to show you what they look like here in just a little bit. I'll let you touch it and you can smell it and whatever you want to do with it, but you can see it. And I'll show you the existing system that's on the high school now too, okay? The red is the ballasted rubber roof that's on the buildings now, and we'll kind of go over what that is and why it needs to be replaced. I've got the documents with me from the 2014 project. So what we did is we were the design firm. We did all the design work, designed its replacement, prepared all the bidding documents for the contractors to bid on, which is a part of what we will be providing to you as a school district. We'll prepare everything that's required by the state of Wisconsin, and then invite contractors in to come and bid on the work and provide the school district with bids, is what we'll be doing, okay? This was the part of the HSR project that we did on the new edition that same year. We were the building envelope portion of the project. We provided them with all the design assistance with details, and then we oversaw the construction of just the roof. We didn't have anything to do with the rest of the building. We were primarily the roof. And then I've got a copy, I think, in a little bit in the presentation, I can show you the warranty that we issued as well. So your condition is actually fairly good. The green is all excellent, it's all brand new under warranty. The red is the ballasted rubber roof that is, you're at the end of its design life. It had a design life around 20 years. And I'll show you some of the things that are starting to happen. Tom's starting to see water, and he's been chasing leaks for quite a while now in this system. Just a quick interesting, this is a life cycle study comparison. So the red line is this rubber roof system. You can see it kind of has the cheapest initial cost. Yeah, you can save a little bit of money doing that roof, but you can see right about this big spike up, right around 15 to 20 years. All those spikes, that's replacement, because the roof ends its life cycle, it starts to shrink and tear, and then you start to get moldy insulation if you don't take it in a timely fashion. I'll show you what that looks like too. I have a neighbor of yours who I agreed to keep their name kind of out of the press, he wasn't out of the press, but it was, I said I'd keep them innocent. I wouldn't tell you who they were, but they're a neighbor. Starts with river, sounds like falls. Sounds like River Falls. I can say it because it's my school district, and I can say that. So, and they told me I could. But anyway, the blue line is the modified BUR that you have in the 2014 projects that we did. Yes, it has a little bit higher initial cost. There's more layers, more redundancy to it, but you can see it doesn't even require full. After 30 years, it doesn't even require full replacement. This is just a maintenance cycle that you'll do to it at the end of the 30-year initial warranty period. So it's a roof system that'll be on this roof, on this building for literally decades, okay? So this is what that system looks like. We're gonna be adding some additional layers of insulation. I'm gonna show you what this looks like in a minute in some photos. We did some core cuts on this building to see what type of insulation was there. Was it dry? For the most part, it was, where we cut the cores. We cut several, we probably cut, I don't know, what did we cut, Tom? 15, 20 cores, something 14, like that? I think. Yeah. So we're going to be adding a little bit of insulation to bring the building up to code in terms of insulation, and then we'll be adding these multi-layers of this modified built-up system. Here, I can just kind of give you these real quick. Here are a couple of them. So here is this is the roof that's on the high school now. This was the roof that was on the other buildings that we tore apart. Literally just a 40 mil tarp is what it is, piece of rubber. They glue it together with the adhesive, and it literally, it starts to shrink as it dies. This system is the system that you can see all the layers, multiply, super thick, super robust. It would be what you expect to have in a commercial building to get a roof to last for like decades. So that's what you're buying. That's what you have on your 2014 re-roofs and your most recent additions that you did. There's the makeup of it right there. And then here's what it looks like being put down with the multi-plies. It goes down in hot asphalt. And there's the layers, and then there's the gravel surfacing. This is what you have in all your 14 editions right there, okay? So we cut cores in this building. You had 2 layers of this white, or that yellow foam board called polyisocyanurate. People just refer to it as ISO. Today in construction and building construction, this stuff is worth literally its weight in gold. You can't get it, it's very hard to find. It's very high demand, and the price of it from just 12 months ago is up about 1,000%. It's super valuable. You can't afford not to protect the investment you already have in this building, right? So it's a huge advantage to you. Here we are cutting the cores, and here you can see there's your layers right there, okay? So we'll take off the old membrane, add another layer of insulation to bring it up to code, and then we put the new roof system on it, is what we do, okay? That would be the scope of work in non-construction terms, what we'd be doing. This is what we're trying to avoid. This is a building we found at a neighboring school district, I can't say. This is what happens if you let it go too long and don't replace it fast enough. So Tom has started to see in this building some shrinkage. When we start to see troughs being pushed around to get water off of seams, and we start to see some shrinkage, you can see all the repairs, some shrinkage and all the repairs on the perimeters. You have just basically, right here, see the shrinkage? You've just reached the end of the life of the design life of that system. So it's time to take it, time to get it off and protect that insulation that's below it, okay? So we made this presentation almost a year ago. It was mid-November, literally a year ago. And we'll go over the budgets at that time, what we're recommending now. The rubber is starting to shrink such that it's literally starting to pull over this sleeper right here. See this curb that's holding this unit up? It's starting to pull it over. That's how hard that rubber will shrink if you let it continue to go. And then this is what the 14 replacement looks like. And then there was a 30-year warranty that we issued to the school district. So literally from 2014, you expire 30 years later, right? At the end of that 30 years, we just do a resurfacing. We don't have to tear it off. You literally sweep the gravel off, just like we chip seal a county road. We chip seal off that gravel surfacing that gentleman was putting on that photo. We redo that surfacing. We reissue a new warranty for 20 more years. You can do that 2 times in the life of that road. So you can do it at year 30 and you can do it at year 50. The cost to do that today, so our replacement cost today to replace this roof here at the high school, just to give you a round ballpark idea, we're in that $17 to $19 a square foot range. That's what that construction goes for. To do that surfacing, right now today, it's about $4.50 to $5 a square foot. It's a pretty good investment for 20 more years. So that's what we've done for all of our neighboring school districts, New Richmond, River Falls, all the big metro school districts on the east side. I work with South Washington County, Stillwater Schools. They're doing this exact same system that you guys did. So I'll fly through this and I'm almost done. This is basically the process of what we would provide you. You've already established you have problems. I don't need to convince you of that. You're at the end of the life. We would do the design replacement. We would prepare the design detail specifications. And then next we need to advertise the project in your paper per the Wisconsin State Bid Law. Once that's done, we have a mandatory pre-bid meeting. We invite the contractors in. We actually review the contract requirements, the scope of work. They get a chance to go up and measure the roof. And we typically give them a couple weeks to turn the project around and actually turn bids into the school district. Then we have bid day. We analyze those bids, make a recommendation to the school board. It may not be always the lowest bidder for some obvious reasons. Maybe it's schedule, maybe it's some other reasons. And then once we've signed a contract, once we've had you folks execute a contract with the roofer, we become the project managers on the project. So our role then is to conduct the pre-bid meeting, or I'm sorry, the bid analysis and the pre-job conference. We would meet the roofer on site with his staff before they bring any equipment, not even a porta potty, right? We have a pre-job meeting with Tom, Josh, all your staff, go over where you're going to be set up, when you're going to be set up, where you can be, where you can't be, all the safety precautions, all the bonding requirements. We review all of that. And then we do, during roof construction, we provide the daily inspections. So we'll be on the site inspecting the work as it goes. And then we would be approving pay applications from the contractor to the school district. And then we issue final warranty, and then that's it. That's the process. And then we will inspect the roof every year for the life of the warranty. No charge to the school district. That comes with our warranty for the next 30 years. Gosh, you know what? For some reason I grabbed the wrong one. But in your packet, if you open up your packet, the very last page of the insert, there's a 3-page insert. This was what I submitted back a year ago, 1.5 to 1.6. I must have grabbed the wrong one in my slide. Yeah, if you see the red right there, we've upped the budget a little bit, 1.55 to about 1.7. Here's what I did. I sent the scope of work and the drawings to two different contractors. I asked them to provide me a budget. They've kind of plugged it into their spreadsheet and their estimating template, and that's how I kind of gave to that number. I would anticipate we would have anywhere from 4 to 6 contractors, good quality contractors that would be bidding on this work. And obviously the earlier we get out to bid, the better we are. Getting on a schedule is imperative. Just because of all the federal funds that are out there for projects and whatnot, there's a lot of money out on the street right now, and so the earlier we can get on the street, the better we are to secure a better number.
Ryan, throw me that thing, will you? So this is what you're proposing that we would add, this layer and the subsequent above.
That's correct.
And below that would be our layers of the ISO.
We already have.
You have 2 existing layers of 2-inch ISO there currently, correct? And we need that extra layer of ISO there to come up to the current building code.
I assume at the elementary, we didn't have those good layers under there from that building, did we?
You know what,
Because that was a
I did?
1968 building.
Yeah, I think we did a total tear off. Here, I have it right here. I'll tell you exactly.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I have it right here. Of course, the new construction obviously got all brand new insulation at the time it was built, and the re-roof got replaced any bad wet insulation. We had to mechanically fasten, so we tore out the wet that was there, kept the base layers, and at that time we had to come up to to exceed R24. Currently now we're R30. So that's what the commercial code has done since 14.
Just curious.
Yeah. Which is pretty typical of a re-roof. You know, we tell people, look, keep all the existing you can. I mean, it's worth a lot. Not only the cost, the labor cost you have to pay a contractor to tear all that up, all the dumpsters, the labor, then to buy it all new and replace it. That's why it's always always in the school district's benefit to use that ISO and not let it get moldy, because that's what can happen real fast when the roof starts to leak more and more.
What about the gravel that's up there already? I mean, is that unusable or?
No, it's totally, it's not usable for the new roof system. The ballast that's up there, it's big 3/4 to 1-inch river rock. This is more of a pea gravel that goes up there. And if you ever wanted to see it, and every once in a while I get a school board that wants to go up on the roof, on this building, if you went over the new additions, there were a couple of additions that were done in that northeast corner, you can see the difference in the rock. Now, we talked about this with your staff the last time we met. You know, that big river rock, it's great landscape, it's good fill, it makes for good culverts, people use it for all kinds of things, so there's value there. You can actually save money on the bid price if you were to find a home for it some way. Just because otherwise the contractor is going to have to find a landfill and he's going to have to truck it to a landfill. So I always recommend, if you got a great relationship with your city or your county, they can always use that stuff. Mm-hmm. They're always looking for fill, right? And when the roofing contractors come, they literally bring in a roof vac service. So they actually put a big long hose with a jet engine down on the ground, and literally they vac it off, and that vac dumps right into dump trucks. And so they can truck it anywhere.
Just get a crusher and make it in the size you need.
Well, if you can make that machine, I'll buy it from you, save a lot of money. Buy a new rock.
Why is that rock? Why is that unusable?
Because it's so, here, let me show you. It's so big, it's literally a big river rock. It won't adhere into the asphalt.
So now you're trying to get it to adhere into the asphalt.
That's exactly what it
The other
is.
stuff's just weight.
Yep. Just like that mock-up right there. But let me go back. I'll show you the photo of it. You can see it when he's putting it down. Right there. See, he's using real tiny little gravel, and it bonds just like a chip seal in a driveway, right? Here's the big river rock. Oh, let me go the other way. Sorry. There's your big river rock. See the size of it?
Sure, and that's just used as weight.
That is literally nothing more than ballast to hold that membrane in place. It's its only function. Yeah. Whereas this little number 7 gravel we refer to it as, it's literally just for surfacing protection. It's not there to hold the roof system down. That new roof is hot, fully adhered, hot mop down. Yeah, that gravel right there is simply for surfacing protection during like hail and snow and ice and stuff like that.
So this actually would go on top of here then. That's what you're proposing.
This is the same thing. This is a mock-up showing the underplies. This is an actual core taken from an actual roof. Just shows the asphalt layers that are between it. Okay. This is but this is the mock-up with the gravel on it. Okay. Yep.
Right, can you just talk timeline if it does get approved tonight, what that will look like when the bidding process and?
Yeah, so we've got, so it's we've got, you think about it, we've got about a month time frame between the time, if you folks said, okay, let's go. So we've got a 2-week advertisement period that we have to adhere to for public bid law, right? Then we have the pre-bid meeting where we ask the contractors to come in, we finish our design, put the contract documents together, invite them in for the pre-bid meeting. That's a day. Then from that meeting until we have bids due, a project of this size, we got to give the guys a good couple of weeks to put numbers together. And then by the time, whenever that happens to fall, that we were to bring it to your next available board meeting, you're talking about a good month-long process just to go ahead and get to where we would be sitting here and you're considering your bid to enter a contract to. And then from there, it's a conversation of how open and flexible does the school district want to be with its schedule of installation. So 95% of the K-12 market are all competing from the June 5th window to the August 30th window. That's the window you guys are all competing against, right? So, anytime you can show a little flexibility and willingness to get outside those windows, you will be rewarded handsomely financially from a bidder. So what we did, I've done it for New Richmond. I did a ton of it the last 2 years for River Falls. We did a modified second shift, is what we called it, where we did no smelly hot asphalt work while school was in session at all. We did peel back the old rubber membrane, put the new insulation down, fasten the new insulation board down. Guys started at about 12:30, 1 o'clock every day. Instead of starting at 6 in the morning, they would just start at 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then work until 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, depending, time of year, spring or fall, however, when the daylight would allow us to work. And roofing contractors are kind of a unique breed. They're looking for places to park and keep people busy in the spring and in the fall. So any flexibility that the district would be willing to consider, you will be rewarded for it financially. They'll give you a better number to be able to start a project in the spring and finish it in the summer, midsummer, something like that. Well, guess what? Now you gave that bidder, that contractor, the opportunity to do another summer project, smaller summer project in a summer window yet too. So you opened him up in so many different ways that we're seeing that work really well for K-12. No, you may say, not interested. That's okay. That's just fine. But if you are interested, I recommend it just because that's when people are looking for the work, spring and fall. I'm finishing some K-12 projects right now. So I'm gonna wrap up just before the snow flies. Just get it in the dry. So
The bus garage, is that just shingles? What is that?
that has a barreled. So the aqua colored roof is this same system we're talking about. And then the other has an older built-up roof, a smooth surface built-up roof on it. So instead of the gravel, they just coated it. That's what's on that portion of it. Yeah.
So we're not looking at doing that?
No.
Not right now. No.
Right now,
How
it's just the
long?
red, right?
Yeah.
Guesstimate, how long to do this?
Oh, length of construction?
Everything, yep.
I'd say you're probably talking 60, 70 days.
2.5 months.
Yeah. Ballpark.
Okay.
It's 900 squares.
Do they do it in sections?
Yeah,
Or- okay.
they do.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, the other advantage, you have as the owner to we can dictate kind of the schedule is, hey, we're real sensitive for obvious reasons to our classroom and our learning spaces, right? But maybe for shops, weight rooms, gymnasiums during the spring, a lot of my schools, K-12 education, if it's nice out, Phi-Ed's outside. Gyms aren't so busy anymore, right? Well, it's not volleyball season, basketball season has ended. It's a great time to say, no, get in here, let's knock the gym out, right? And then by the time they end those sections, then school gets out. Now we transfer over to our learning spaces, and it just seems to work out well that way. But yeah, if I had to guess, I would say probably 60 days, 60, 70 days. It's going to rain. We're going to have some rain days. They're not going to be allowed to work. There's clearly that. So.
And if you bid it out to separate contractors, you're still the warranty though, you're still the.
Yes, ma'am. I don't do any installation. I am the main waterproofing membrane that's in that system, and I'm the one issuing the warranty and overseeing their work to make sure it's done per spec, to guidelines, to the contract requirements, and then we issue the final warranty.
So does the warranty cover everything?
Everything.
Okay.
Labor, materials, from the deck up. That's the other thing. So even though we're using that existing ISO, that existing ISO becomes part of the new warranty system. It's not excluded. It's not, oh yeah, by the way, our warranty doesn't cover those pieces. No, we cover it. It's all covered. Everything's brand new from the deck up, in terms of a warranty.
Right.
Yeah.
So could you add a chunk of insulation and put this back on? Just a question.
100%.
Yeah.
100% you could. Absolutely.
And it'd be 20 years again or whatever.
You'll be right back here again, 20 more years, doing it again, bud.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And you'll have to add the new energy code for R value that you'll
Yep.
get no benefit out of.
Right.
Which is just, it's, the energy thing, the R value is kind of a shell game a little bit. I mean, there's been a lot of studies done that show that in our environment, our climate where we are at in the US, you get much above an R of 26, 27. Now it becomes a real diminishing point of return. You can insulate, you can put 12 inches of insulation up there. You're not going to get any more benefit out of it. A lot of the insulation R values that we have by building code law are driven by, if you can imagine it, some of the insulation manufacturers and their lobbyists. They drive that, right, to get more. And don't get me wrong, it's, you know, as heating and cooling costs go up, you want a well insulated building. But the problem is that I've already seen some studies. So like right now in Minnesota, like across the bridge, for example, right now it's an R30. It's an R30 here too, right? But you go right up to Anoka, get to like that area. There's a line there in the building code. It goes to 35. I've seen so many studies that shows that anything above 30 is a complete waste of money. But now, like the state of Minnesota is already talking in 2 years they're going to go to 40. Well, guess what? When you go to re-roof again, you have to add up all that more insulation, all the perimeters have to come up, all new metal in the building. It's a complete waste. So we tell people all the time, keep that existing insulation there because there's a building code exemption that if you're using the existing, if you keep that existing roof in place, you don't have to bring it up to code. You can leave it right where it's at.
So like in 30 years, if it's 40 and we're only at 30, you
Can't do a damn thing.
Yeah.
All you have to do is you would redo the surfacing if you chose to. You wouldn't have to, but you'd be smart to because at that point you're spending, you know, I don't know. Let's say the 450 goes up to, let's say it's $7 a square foot 30 years from now. I don't know. I'm guessing. If I actually knew what the inflation factor was, I'd go to Vegas. But let's say it's $7. It's a fraction of what you would spend to re-roof. Just a fraction, you know.
Right.
And you're going to have this building here for decades, you guys, right? I mean, that's why if this was a 20 and out building or even a 30 and out building, we'd be having a different conversation about a different system that we could maybe just wean along and get you to that point. But that's clearly not where you're at with this facility.
Nice presentation.
That's all I
Are
have.
the-
Yeah, thank you.
Are the supplies there? I know my industry, we can't get what we need to keep
Yeah.
continuing. Are the supplies there? Are they available for spring?
It's tough. So here's what's been happening in our industry. So if I order this new ISO insulation right now today, I'm being told that first delivery is about June 15th. Now, here's what's been happening. The roofing contractors who are savvy, and several of them are savvy business people, they have been stockpiling this stuff in warehouses, getting ready for this summer when there was going to be no supply available. So that's why I say, my recommendation to you is open your window, okay? Open it up. Because you're going to get maybe the contractor who's been stockpiling it and said, oh, I've got that flat stock. That's not a lot. And it's not a lot, right? In terms of depth and all that. He may say, I've got that. I'll hit that right away. Or you may get the guy who says, boy, they'll let me work into the fall. I'll start the education classroom areas in the summer. And then when school starts, I'll wrap up a gym, or I'll wrap up a industrial arts, or I'll wrap up a weight room, or wherever you deem necessary for us to work when school's in session. He says, I'll wait and take my order of that ISO come midsummer. So you're getting a bid from the best of both worlds that you can right now. So that's why I say, just if you're flexible as a buyer, I'm encouraging you to please be flexible as a buyer to get you the best bid I can. Do that if you want to consider it. We've already seen it. The schools that have said, no, I just opened one up for Columbia Heights just last week. And they said, nope, June 10th, August 20th. They gave them 60 days, and they paid for it immensely. This estimate that's on this sheet in front of you there, in your last sheet there, I think that's right around $17 a square foot, maybe $17.50. Theirs came in at $23. And part of it was they nailed the contractor into a very finite.
Tight
defined.
window.
Yeah. So you will get it done in this time frame. So.
Question for you.
Yep.
I see that we're at 1.5
Yeah.
in that fund. What are we gonna do if it's 1.7? Where are we gonna get the other 200,000 in a year?
So we're a hair over 1.5. Then we figured we'd be able to budget this between the two budget seasons. If it does get closer to the 1.7 or even a little bit more than that, we'll be okay to budget that 200 grand, especially with the current ESSER fund money. We'll be able to allocate some of the money, kind of not use some of that, but use some of the our operations money, and then move around. So we should be pretty much set as far as if the quotes come back what we're hearing today.
So for today's purposes, we're just looking at giving us permission to go ahead and get the numbers done. Next meeting will come with the latest numbers. Or?
Yep, to move forward to Garland and to get the bidding process going, and then all of that will come back to the board for approval.
I would plan to bring bid results back from the bid project and review them with you and make a recommendation.
Could we get bids on both systems, the system that we've got, along with the system that you're proposing?
Sure. The only difference is this. So here's the caveat. That rubber roof system, if you were to get a number on that, because it's such a short term and such a thin system, they will not warrant any of the existing insulations below it. So just be mindful of that. You don't get a full system warranty with that application.
So how?
The way to get it, you have to tear it all. And that would be a more fair comparison. Is if you want a full, hey, give me a full 20-year warranted system in the rubber roof, you have to tear all that ISO off and replace all of it.
So what happens to ISO that it goes bad?
ISO really doesn't go bad.
So why would we have to tear it up? Why would we want a warranty on it?
You just don't get a warranty from the manufacturer on the ISO. On the ISO, they exclude it. So if something were to happen to the ISO, let's say it starts to shift around because it's ballasted down, they won't warrant it. That's the difference.
The rubber membrane people won't warranty it.
They will give you like a 20-year limited warranty on just the material. It's kind of like when you buy the material versus the labor material warranty when you shingle a house. Very similar. On the rubber roof, if you keep that existing ISO and don't replace it, and the reason they do it is there's no money. The rubber's like $1 a square foot. They don't have any money in it to put into the coffers to give you a full system warranty. That's why they do it.
Right. So are you pretty experienced with that roofing system?
Mm-hmm.
So at what level of risk would we be at if we went that route and didn't have a full roof warranty? We would be just back where we've been for the last 20 years, repairing and bringing
100%.
along.
And the stuff we've been doing in the last 20 years, that's not been covered by warranty, right?
It was to a point.
We pay a lot usually.
Maybe the first number of
Was
years.
20 years.
First number of years, yeah.
2017,
Yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah.
I think the better question is, maybe the better way I should have answered it is, from a life cycle cost perspective, you are going to pay more, no doubt, to leave with the modified system. But from a life cycle cost perspective, the district's way further ahead. Way further ahead. It'll pay for itself in basically one replacement cycle of 20 years. And you paid for it, and now you're off to the races.
So it's a 20-year investment that in 20 years will come. That's when we'll come ahead as 20 years from now.
Absolutely, 100%. That's why most schools, K-12, when they, my largest number of clients build a new building, have a rubber roof on it, because that's what was budgeted for them when they went to referendum to the public. And then my biggest percentage of replacement are those buildings when they hit 20 years. Because the school says, well, we're going to be here more than 20 years. Let's spend the least amount on roofing that we have to for the taxpayers. That becomes the mindset. Yeah.
And this system's been around for a long time? Or?
Since here domestically in the U.S. since the 60s. Yeah.
It sounds like a heck of a good system.
It's a great system.
My only thing is why would we want to invest something and wait for a 20-year return on it?
Because that's your only alternative.
But we're not guaranteed 20 on the underlayer ISO. That could go bad at any point, and we don't have a warranty.
It's not gonna go,
Right.
yeah, it's not gonna go bad per se, but here's what
We're gonna get
has
leaks.
happened. Here's what has happened. I have had insulation shift with that system, because here's what's happening now. In some of these photos, what's happening here, let me show you. Some of this movement in these bare areas, what's starting to happen right now is you're starting to get the ISOs in 2 layers. It starts to shift and move as the building moves, and the rock gets blown around the roof a little bit. So what ends up happening, it creates sharp points and it can puncture the rubber over time. That's why they won't, and it's only 45, 50 mils. That's why they won't guarantee that existing layer below it. Now, they will if they get to sell you the new insulation, right? Now, I can tell you at today's ISO prices, that 20-year payback's probably less than that. I mean, I have to run the numbers I would run the numbers for you, but you're probably talking, geez, you wouldn't touch it for $11 to $12 a square foot would be a good buy on it today.
Well, I don't think that's even an option to tear a good insulation up and replace it.
Yeah.
No.
Especially with the price of it today.
And labor.
But I'd just be curious, just to get us back to where we were 20 years ago, what would that cost?
I can give you that. I can give you a number on it. I wouldn't recommend bidding it out that way, and here's why. I'd be glad to have some contractors run it and send it to you. I wouldn't bid it that way, and here's why. When you put multiple scopes out to public bid to the roofing contractors, you're sending a message to the bidders that you haven't made up your mind. You don't know what you want. And then the estimators don't take your project as serious. They don't ratchet down that one project. They kind of think you're fishing, right? Which you kind of are, which it's fair. I would much rather, I'll call the 2 guys, or I'll call 2 different guys. I'll call one of the big union shops, I'll call one of the guys out of Eau Claire, and I'll just say, hey, give us a number on the rubber system. Replace it. What does it look like?
So you guys provide all the material, but you don't actually do it. The contractors are doing the physical labor on it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. I basically make these top felt plies. I don't make the asphalt, I don't make the wood
Gotcha.
blocking, I don't make the sheet metal. We make the main waterproofing membrane. That's our role. Now, I put rubber roofs on for schools all the time. I don't recommend rubber. There's a different system. It's a white single ply system. It's a little better than rubber, but now you're starting to creep up to the same price point as that, right?
Does your company make that white stuff?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm putting a bunch of it on right now for the University of North Dakota up on their airport for the UND's aerospace program. They have 8 hangars, and they have the ballasted rubber roof just like this on all their hangars. They're swapping it out, and they're keeping the existing ISO, adding ISO to come up to code, and then putting the white single ply on it. But that came back at, gosh, we just bid that out, and I think we just got estimates on it, and it was like 13, 1250, 12. I mean, and the only reason they're not going with the longer term system is that program is so lucrative right now. They're making so much money on it that they don't anticipate, they think in 20 years they're gonna tear those buildings down and reconfigure that whole airport and move on with life. But all their long-term stuff, they put the modified on. But yeah, I mean, any of those single plies, we'll be back there in 20 years again, and you'll do it again. You'll do it again. But then again, you'll have to add more ISO. You'll have to come up to new codes, and then we peel that membrane back. And I got to add up all that insulation now.
What do you guys want to do?
I say we bid both out. That's what I say.
Both types?
Yeah.
And you want to keep the existing insulation under the rubber roof as well? You want to keep that?
I would, yeah.
Okay. So I'll do the same thing. I come up to code, add what I need to come up to code, and then I put a white single ply under it. Not the ballasted. I wouldn't recommend the ballasted.
Does the white last longer than the conventional rubber?
You know, it hasn't been out long enough to really prove it. It's not going to be less than the black, but will it last longer? I think that's yet to be proven. those white the white membranes that we have today, they've only been out for about 15, 16 years, to be honest with you. All they do is they take the same formulation, they put titanium dioxide in the mix in the plant. That's all they do, right? But the newer ones have a reinforcement scrim in it, so it makes it a little stronger. So it's better. It is better. It's better than that rubber, for sure. Won't argue, right? But again, you're kind of splitting hairs a little bit at that point. You're getting so close in terms of dollars. But yeah, let's put it out. I mean, I don't recommend that. I'd rather get you the number because I want to get you the best number come bid day. I've seen what roofers do. But if that's what you want to do, I'll do it. I'll do it for you.
If we're thinking it's only 200,000-300,000 more, say 400,000 more, but we're getting a 10-year longer warranty, correct? Because that would be 20, and
Right.
this other one would be 30,
And you don't have to tear this one off and redo it.
and we don't have to tear it off.
Huh.
And I just think we have the money now. We're not gonna go in debt for it.
How much for a new roof in 20 years?
Wanna go to Vegas?
I was just gonna say, how, does it matter, like, the other one was 2014, and that life cycle will be 30 years, because that was one of these systems. You know, just thoughts on advantages, disadvantages of, you know, if we do the same system here, when they come due, I mean, you don't wanna have both of your
Right.
roofs come due at the same
Right.
time for maintenance, right?
Right, so the 2014 will come due in 2044. 2044, by today's dollars now, okay? The good news is that process is pretty unlabor intensive. So I just did a big, I think Tom talked to Bob Perrin over in New Richmond this summer. We just finished a big cycle for them on their middle school. And it's basically, they bring up the same vac that they suck off the big ballast, the same process. They put a power room up on it, but then they back up the piles that they make. And then literally, they take a spray rig and they're literally spraying the new surfacing asphalt, because what you're trying to do with this surfacing is you're trying to keep the sun off of this layer right there. If you can keep the sun off of that layer, these plies will keep performing literally for decades. It's been proven, right? So the process is not real labor intensive. So I mean, so my guess would be is that, well, I can tell you in the 25, 26 years I've been with Garland, when I first started that process, did that resurfacing, was like $350 a foot. The ones I bid out right now are $450. So it went up maybe 50%. So yeah, you're talking in 30 years. So let's say my $455 is now $7. That's what if I had to guess, if construction inflation kind of does what it does the next 25 years, you might be there around $7 a square foot. Well, that's still way less than you can do another single ply for. And then again, in another 20 years, you can do it again. So yeah, so I mean, if you're going to have the building, that process will be the cheapest you'll pay if you have, you know, if you average it out over the number of years you'll have the building and the roof in place. By far. You'll pay a little more that first time, no question, no doubt, unarguable. But you're talking 900, I gotta get my phone. You're talking 905 squares. You'll probably save yourself on the initial, let's say you save yourself, you know, $3-4 a square foot. Yeah, you're talking $270,000, right? Well, shoot. Okay, I'll ask you, what's the roof going to cost in 20 years? What's the rubber roof going to cost in 20 years? How much are we going to add? So our $12 square foot roof will be, I don't know, should we say 15? It's going to be more than that, but let's say it's 15, right? So in 20 years from now, you'll spend another $1.35 million. So where do you want to be? I guess that's the question. That's the debate, right? In 20 years, you're going to spend 270, or do you want to spend an extra $1.1 million to save $250,300,000 now. It's kind of the way the math works out.
Is there others out there that like have a 50-year warranty?
Actually, I can put for another $1 a square foot, I can put a 40-year on that, and that's the longest in the industry. It's a different cap sheet. It's stronger. You can put $40, you can put a 40-year, no dollar limit warranty for another $1 a square foot. So that'd be another $100,000.
That seems like good money spent there.
For an extra 10 years.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then you do the same, and then your renewal cycles are the same. At the end of 40, you resurface it, you can do it 2 times every 20 years. That's the longest one in the industry, is 40 years. Yeah.
I like it too.
Well, and I think with rubber, we're just gonna be dealing with that again.
Yeah.
And we just don't know where budgets with state and federal money are going.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to concentrate on our teacher wage. Let's get the roof done right so we can move on to what we really need to move on, and that's our teacher wage.
And
Not have
this
to go back
money
to
is not,
referendum.
this is money that we have to spend that's not,
Right,
Right.
right. But I'm just saying,
sustainability.
we don't have to go to referendum for this. We can
Right.
pay for this either with 20, 30, or 40. If we're gonna do a referendum, let's do it for our teachers. And let's get this roof done now with what we have, because we have it.
Yeah,
Well, let's
it's not gonna be cheaper next year to do a roof.
No, nothing's gonna get cheaper.
Right.
Let's get the bids in.
Yeah.
I would be interested in hear the 30, 40 difference on bids. The
Well, that's just
warranty.
his deal.
That's just
That's just
you,
your
right?
deal.
It's the
Yeah,
same.
it's the same labor, literally, it's just a
Yeah.
material difference, it's all it is. It's about $1 a square foot more. Literally, that's what it is.
So that wouldn't affect the bidding process, that would just
No.
be you telling us?
Yeah.
Basically,
Okay.
Yeah,
Are
no,
we-
it's literally, it's so you got 90 squares, it's gonna be about $100,000. About $100,000 more ballpark.
And I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. Are we doing two different bids, or are we just doing?
I don't think we need to.
Okay.
I approve one bid,
For this.
go for it now with this new system.
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, fair enough.
Everybody else good?
What are we doing?
With the 40 year, the different type, the little bit heavier.
But he's providing the truck to take the rock away.
And you'll be able to get us the bids, and then,
Yeah, I don't think that'd be hard to get rid of.
Township person.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll put the bid, we'll put the bid
and you'll be able to
packages
tell
together.
us what the difference between the
100%.
30 year and the 40
Absolutely,
year.
I
That's
can.
just you
Absolutely.
adding $1 per square
Yeah,
foot.
Is this, are we gonna pay you to do this for us, or is this?
No, so my administrative cost, all of the bidding, procuring, construction management, that's in all these, it's with the materials. Yes, there's no extra bill. That's in 14, that's what we did. There was
Well, my
no.
question is, are we obligated if we give you the go-ahead and work through?
Great
this?
question. Yes, you are. Here's what you're obligated for. You are obligated to pay me the administrative design cost if you did not award the project.
And that cost would be what?
3.5% of the bid price.
And what's that math work out to?
Okay. So let's say bids came in at $1.6 million. I'm grabbing a number. About $56,000.
I wouldn't mind to think about it, another meeting here.
Right, just give it up, yeah.
Are we losing something?
One more meeting?
I'm in an industry where a product is hard, and so that's my worst fear. Because that's gonna go up, it's
Mm.
gonna get harder, we know that that's just gonna be bad, and if we could jump on this and get going April, end of
No, I'm
April.
not. A day. Just give
I
me a
just-
day to think about it, I guess.
Right.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
automatically we'd be spending $56,000
Right.
tonight.
Right. Good presentation, and I like the product. I'm just.
Yeah,
it's-
I get it.
it's-
I'm not here to pressure you guys. You guys feel good about your decision. Feel good about it.
I don't want to fix any more leaks.
Yeah, I don't.
You know what, Mike?
Move
Mike?
your buckets
around.
It's too bad. It's
Like
too bad
the
it's
end of
not
the
a
week
different
or
time of
something,
year.
yeah.
I would love the chance, as hokey as it
Like,
might
you just-
sound,
I mean, I
to
just
just
wanna
take
think
you
about
right
it a couple
upstairs
times.
here
I'm good with
and
whatever.
let you walk the
You could
rubber
just email
roof
us all, or we
versus
have
what
our
you've already
meeting
bought in
together.
2014.
Well, and I know
Give
Gary
me one.
mentioned
Substantial
something
difference.
about
Yeah,
different
when you're
type
on
of.
it.
My cousin.
Huge
Just-
substantial
Yeah.
difference.
I believe it.
Substantial
And I
difference.
wouldn't think they'd be able to bid this.
Yeah.
The construction.
Is the construction part, I'm sure, yeah.
What do you guys want to do? Now says go for it now. Skip wants to wait.
I'd like to wait.
Like 3 days or something.
Yeah.
Can we call?
Well,
Can we
if
call a special meeting?
decide when together, we have to have a meeting.
That's fine.
To do that.
If we have a special meeting in 2 weeks again or something.
It's a lot of money.
I don't care if it's next week.
We've been talking about it since 2014.
Yeah, I know we need a new roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, have we done any other research other than visited with, I'm sorry, what was your name?
Brian.
Brian.
Garland.
So have we done any other research with anybody else?
We have a little
I went
bit.
down to the Richmond, Bob Parent showed me this modified roofing. He swears by it, he said he wouldn't put any different roof on.
Did Gary drop you off a price too for something? Gary Bruce?
Yes.
And seeing it's through the school, it has to be certain, does it have to be like union people that do this job?
No, God, no. No. So that bidding process.
Like you mentioned something like this, the school K-12 school code or something like that, or?
Yeah, so here's the thing. So so whenever you do construction on a public institution in Wisconsin, right? You have to have a designer involved for a project of this magnitude, right? That's the role we
Okay.
fill. So the question you're really asking is so who else is out there but Garland, right? Trust me, I'm not the only guy in this market.
Right.
So your other opportunities would be you would literally go hire an architectural firm, and then they would write a specification for a generic company who doesn't do what I do. They just make the product, okay? So the difference would be is that what you would take out of the product, you would pay in their fees to not only write the specs, administer the bid process, but now become construction managers. Now you're back into hiring you might hire a Kraus Anderson, you might hire someone like that. That would be your other alternative. You're not in a position here with this project of this magnitude. You can't just call a roofer and say, hey, give me a bid.
Right.
Okay, there's too much at stake. You have to have the building.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're changing the weight load on this building, right? So my structural engineer has to do the review. That's why he brought me the plans right there to take to my engineer to have them do the review on it to say, yep, you're good to go, or no, you're not. What do we have to do from a weight perspective? So the documents have to all be engineered. That's what we did for you in 14. We engineered who was superintendent? Brad Ayers?
Yep.
Brad. We did all that design work, and that's what they picked. That's when they did a very similar comparison, looked at other people and said, geez, we're getting all that from Garland, and they're the ones issuing the warranty. Let's just work with them.
Do you recall that at all, actually, that process?
I know what I recall. I recall looking out the window in high school and seeing Rick Kirk and his roofing crew roofing the roof outside the window.
He was working for
In
Garland.
2014? In 2014?
No, that was about 35 years
Oh,
ago.
okay.
You might remember that, Chris.
Because he was in high
Or
school.
maybe it was,
He was in kindergarten.
actually, maybe it was LeBlanc.
Roger.
See, it's so old, you can't remember.
So I had
Or both of them.
River Falls is probably a pretty good example. They were just living roofing nightmares, as you can see from the photos I showed you. And they were actually the last set of roofs we tore off were the white single plies. And they got about 18 years out of them before they started to take on real water. And that was the one I showed you. You can call Joe Hazelman. You can call Tom over there. Go ahead. Go ahead and call his staff. You can talk to him, right? Joe will tell you that they were living a nightmare with those white single plies, and they thought they were saving money when they bought them because they saved a bunch of upfront dollars. But then what ended up happening was they had leaked so bad, because you're talking about one ply, right? It's very easy to cut it, right? Hailstorm, windstorm, catches a piece of equipment, they can cut open pretty easy. It had leaked so bad, and they didn't actually see a lot of the water in the building. This is why we did all the core cuts that we did here on this building to see, was it wet? Did we have mold? We don't, which is awesome, right? You guys don't have to spend all the money on the insulation. River Falls situation where once we opened it up, it was just, they hadn't seen a lot of leaks or stained tiles per se, but when we lifted up those insulation boards, it was all moldy. One little section, I want to say it was about the size, twice of this room maybe. That roof, that section alone was like a $37,000 change order for insulation.
So you're comfortable with the cores that you took in this, you know what you're getting into?
Very,
Yeah.
very. Now, in that budget, in full disclosure, I did work in a little bit of a contingency, because here's what's gonna happen. Typically around drain bowls, and we know historically in working with Tom in the district, you guys have had a problem around the drain bowls, which is common. When this system starts to fill, the drain bowls are anchored down with the ring, and what'll start to happen is it'll start to stretch, right? And just like when you take a rubber band out of a desk and you pull it apart, you see the little dots, little spaces. That's what starts to happen, which is why he started to see a bunch of leaking around the drain bowls. So we kind of already are anticipating that, yeah, we're probably going to have, because everything's tapered to the drains, we're probably going to have an area maybe 5 feet by 5 feet or 8 feet by 8 feet square around the bowls that I already in the budget had planned to replace, okay? And so what we would do when we bid it out, we'd have a base bid, and then I have a wet insulation allowance for a certain number of square feet that's in the base bid. Now, if we don't use it, then that dollar amount goes right back to the school district as a credit at the end of the project. But it's a little bit of a built-in insurance policy. We kind of know you're gonna have some, but yeah, it's that wet insulation is nothing to fool with. I mean, I've got school districts right now that have let it go so long that they've had to shut some buildings down because of it. So you're in a good point right now. You're in a really, really good point. This ISO's, from what we can tell, is in very, very good shape. Use it, make use of it. So.
To give you a perspective of how bad the roof is, in my 4 years I've had this job, give or take a couple, we've fixed about 80 leaks already.
Yeah. And to start this process over again, I think it'd be hard to get it even done this spring. To have somebody else come and look at it.
Right.
And they already did the work on it. I don't know. I'm probably okay with doing it. Looking at bids.
How do you feel, Skip?
I just want a couple days to think about it. You get whatever you decide.
Well, I think I'm okay with it too. So that would be 3-1.
Oh, that's fine. If that's what you guys think.
I do. Same.
Yeah.
Do a formal vote. I'll entertain a motion. Let's see.
I move to approve the school roofing purchase and to go to bid.
Second.
Been probably moved and seconded to approve the bidding procedure. All in favor signify by saying aye.
All right, I'll say it.
All opposed, motion passes. I'm gonna turn this over to you now, Skip. I'm gonna take him to practice, so
Oh, okay.
I'll be back.
Brian, thanks for coming in, appreciate it.
Thanks, you guys. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Guys, thanks for your time. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.
See you
Yeah,
soon.
no.
See you, Brian.
Thanks for coming in, Brian.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me.
All right, next, C, approval of resignations.
You just have 2 resignations in there, one letter available to you guys. So both those individuals have submitted their letters of resignation.
I'm gonna read that.
You don't have to.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the resignations.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to approve the resignations. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resignations approved. Next, approval of the 21-22 support staff contracts.
Okay, so contracts for support staff, a little different this year. Usually the teacher contracts are involved, are included in that, but because we did the adjustment to the compensation structure, that the teachers' contracts are not part of that. So the support staff contracts, looking for, the recommendation is a 2% increase for all the support staff contracts. What's that?
Or maybe it's not in here, huh?
No, just in the notes in the second page, sorry.
I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve support staff contracts.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to approve the support staff contracts. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, the approval of the 21-22 administration contracts.
So same as the support staff, the preliminary and final budgets were based on that 2% increase. It's a recommendation for a 2% increase for administration contracts. The only difference there is when we hired Mr. Melberg, I increased his contract to have that 2% already included in it, so his wouldn't be included in this 2% increase. It was already in there when we offered the position.
Gotcha.
I move to approve the administration contracts.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to approve the 21-22 administration contracts. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Consideration approval of bus purchase.
Okay, this one, just asked that we table this one. We're trying to move on this a little bit quicker than in past years, but every other year, past practice has been that we budget in for a bus purchase. So it's about $100,000 is kind of what that range is. We have 2 of the 3 quotes. We got to get a 3rd quote for you guys, so that'll be on the next agenda.
Okay, we will table the approval of the bus. Next, review of the ESSER funds plan.
Okay, so I put that ESSER plan in there for you guys, just to take a look. So we have to share with the community the ESSER plan. So the ESSER money, hang on 1 second. So not a whole lot of changes. We still don't have the ESSER $3. There we go. So when we look at this plan, we reviewed it in August, and then the DPI has made it a requirement that we have to review it every 6 months. So it was on. I had it slotted for the November meeting, which is today. The first round of ESSER money, ESSER 1, if you recall, was called the CARES money. We were calling it. That was about $80,000. So that $80,267. Both of those were 90% in that second row, and then 10% of the dollars was allocated in that first row. So these color-coded, if you remember, these color-coded items are taken directly from DPI, where that money can be coded to. This is their language. So ESSER 2, we have a total of $335,000. These are the areas that in 2020-21, these 2 items is the amount that we had in that in the first section is a total about little over $102,000 last year. So this year so far we've spent about $219,000. We have a remaining right around a $335,000 remaining, and then ESSER 3 we don't have a dollar amount yet. So most of this is being used, like you saw one of the vouchers, the Edgenuity, the online education. We still are budgeting some of our cleaning supplies in that area. We did purchase like the HVAC system in this building was a large chunk of that money. So items that can be designated or allocated toward things that are tied to COVID or COVID relief money. So, so this is on our. So this is what we have for the ESSER fund money plan. Any questions?
And then you just kind of leave that 335, heaven forbid that we would have a closure down the road? I mean, is there a plan for that remaining?
No, we're just, as we go, like through the year, like as we purchase things, we're still allocating it in that area. Trying to think of what we have coming, any items that we have on the docket right now that I can think of. Like like I said, cleaning supplies, right now.
We have the bleachers.
Oh yeah, bleachers. So it's kind of like as we're going, things that align with the COVID relief that we're using that money towards. So we don't have everything itemized out at this point. It'd be pretty tough. It could be spent. ESSER 3 can be spent up. I think 2024.
23.
2023-24 is
Right.
last year
Right.
we can spend the ESSER 3.
Yeah.
But we don't know how. We're not sure how much that's going to be. So we should know fairly soon. We also are doing, both Mr. Peterson and Mr. Malberg, I asked them to do kind of almost like an internal audit of our curriculum. There's a certain amount that has to be allocated for things like curriculum. So we're looking at, what items, especially this building, like what do we need to replace for curriculum? We're going to be doing, if we can allocate some of that, if there's some needs for curriculum, we're going to purchase that, with this money too. We also have a guest speaker that we've slotted in February. That's just a small number, but that'll probably fall under that mental health services and supports, as something that could be used for this money as well. That we normally, wouldn't have brought someone in. Any questions? Okay. And that's it. That item was just to share with the board, but then also, more importantly, share with all stakeholders. We have to have it open to the public to kind of share that process and kind of walk through, how much money is being allocated and where. So.
Okay, then we'll move on to our next item of business, the review of the school board election timetable.
Okay. So the timetable I listed in the notes. I just wanted you guys to be aware of what the dates were for the upcoming election. Right now we have Mr. Ryan Munson is up for re-election this year. And then the timeline listed for that as well. So November 23rd, notice published by the district. December 1st through January 4th, candidates may file declaration of candidacy. December 24th is the deadline for incumbent to file notice of non-candidacy. April 5th is the election. April 25th, on or before April 25th would be the official oath. And then May 9th would be the first board meeting or official board meeting for the next, for the date for the candidate.
Okay. Next item of business then will be the approval of the Start College Now applications.
Okay, so we have a few of those. I just wanted to share with you. I put the names in there. They had to be submitted by October 1st. So you can see who the individuals are, what they're applying for, and then I just put, kind of a yes or no if the letter of request was submitted, if the application was submitted completely, if the application was submitted on time. So I do have the first individual there listed had everything completed and on time. The next three, the only piece that they were missing in their application it was a small, they didn't have the credits listed, so I can make a best guess. And that was literally it. Otherwise, it was on time. They submitted their letter. The last individual didn't submit it on time, and only had a couple minor things missing. So what I plan to do in the future is to talk with Mrs. Kaler, just to have her meet with the kids and say, the couple items that they're missing, just make sure that the kids are aware that they need to have those items in there too. I'm not so sure that they even knew that they missed anything. So really, in my eyes, the only one that really had an issue was the last one, and she just missed the timeline by a little bit. So our recommendation is that the board approve all of them to submit through, unless you guys feel like we need to take a hard line and say no, everything needs to be completed 100% it needs to be in on time.
I move to approve the Start College Now applications.
Second.
So probably moved and seconded to approve all of the Start College Now applications. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item of business.
And then can I say one thing, Mr. Frencher? Just so I will meet with Mrs. Kaler just to say in the future, if they're not turned in on time, that I'm going to recommend to the board that they're not approved, just so we don't get in a position
Right.
where we have a kid that's a month later and say, well, you've approved these. I just think I want to try to clean these up a little bit to say, let's make sure we have everything completed and that they're turned in on time. Otherwise, I'm going to recommend to the board that they're not approved. So just so you guys know.
Yeah.
All right. Now move on to the WASB State Convention.
Okay. Just wanted that to make you guys aware of the WASB State Convention. Looks like it's, as of right now, looks like it's going to be in person. That's January 19th to the 21st. It's in the same location in Milwaukee, and then that mid-December kind of date is when they give you the early bird discount. So just if you guys want to let me know at some point if you're interested, I can get people registered. So I just wanted to throw that out there that it's something to talk about if you're interested in going or attending.
Are you
So let me know.
considering going?
Yeah, yep, I would.
I'll see. I'll let you know. December 15th.
January 19th through the 20th.
No, but the
Oh,
15th is
yeah,
the-
yep, sorry.
January 19th to what, Josh? I'm sorry.
Through the 21st.
Okay, any other discussion? Next item of business then will be the approval of board policy 172, legal counsel.
Okay. I've got a handful of policies on here, but they're all very short. And this is the last stretch of bylaws, and then we move into the next section of policies. So.
I'll entertain a motion when you guys get through. If there's no discussion.
I move to approve the board policy 0172 legal counsel.
Second?
Can we do them all at once?
And probably moved and seconded. Yeah, should we go through all of them?
Yeah.
Yes, they're short.
Yeah, let's do 173 then.
That's a state statute one there, huh?
If I could put Lori on the spot. Lori, does that one read the way it should,
I don't know, I don't have it.
in your opinion?
Which one do you?
Independent financial auditor.
Oh.
That's pretty much audit, yes.
Can't adjust that one.
I think Ms. Karnick would be fine if we get rid of that policy.
Yes,
I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve.
Wait, sorry, let's move on to 174.1, like the state's good.
And 175 and 175.1.
Are you doing all of them at the same time?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
we're trying to anyway.
Well, minus the first one.
Oh, okay.
We can redo that.
Who's our clerk? I just have one question about 174.1. The Board of Education clerk shall file with the Department of Public Instruction. Is that something that she actually does, that we have our clerk do?
We just publish it, yeah. So we put that notice, the notice that I put her name on there, and then we publish the notice, and then the annual meeting gets published with it, all that document. We publish it in the Clear Lake Chronicle and the Amory free, and then we put it on our website as well.
So should it say that she has somebody do that for her, or do we just leave it read as she does it?
We could include, like we did with those other ones, or her designee, or the board's designee. What do you guys want to put?
Yes.
I think that would make it more accurate.
Or the board
I know
designee.
it sounds kind of silly and redundant to talk about something that funny, but
No.
it has, those type of things have come up. So
So I'll just put the Board of Education clerk or Board of Education designee shall file the, sounds good?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, then I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve for policy 173, 174.1, 175, and 175.1.
Second with that change.
Yeah,
With that change.
And did that include 172, Nettie?
We already approved that one individually. So I'm assuming that was all.
Okay, so it's been, did somebody second it?
Yep.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the policies as listed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The next item of business are superintendent notes, Dr. Joshua.
Okay.
Ernst.
I'll keep it short, but I just had a few things that I wanted to mention, just a couple items since our last board meeting. Parent-teacher conferences over at the junior senior high here had good attendance. We had that. We had a lot of good things happening in sports too. Specifically, the cross-country team made a good run at it and competed at sectionals over at Boysville. Did a nice job. Unfortunately, didn't get anybody to qualify to state, but had, I think, the most, what does she call them, personal bests, I think it's personal bests, at sectional. So they ran really well, and it was beautiful weather, so it was fun to go watch the kids run. And then we had another item in sports. The volleyball team just really did a heck of a job. They made a good run at it. Unfortunately lost a really tough one in the sectional or regional finals. And then that team, they ended up losing to the state champion team, which was
5 sets too.
Yeah, 5 sets, and really did a heck of a job. But they just, more importantly, all of our teams, the kids just really carry themselves well and represent Clear Lake very well. So it's fun to cheer on kids like that are really doing a nice job in and outside of the classroom and represent Clear Lake School District and community in a positive light. So congrats to both those guys, both those teams. We also had the JK program, which I wasn't able to attend. Mr. Pearson was at that, and the high school concert was going on at the same time over here. So the high school concert, the Mr. Verhan and Mrs. Wallace did a really nice job, and the concert went very well, and the kids performed really well. So I don't know if you had anything to say about the JK concert.
Well, it was nice to have it again after not having it last year, and then it's always great we always get a great turnout, for a small group of kids. There's a ton of people there, and it's just a nice community involvement. And for a lot of the parents, that's their first child coming into school. It's their first experience coming into something like that, and it's a neat opportunity. So Mrs. Pickard and Mrs. Manty, Mrs. Shard, did an awesome job having them ready.
Yeah. So and then lastly, we just had in-service as well, which went very well. I was kind of hoping that we get to cancel that because that fell on the state volleyball tournament, but unfortunately we didn't, and we had it. But that was the in-service went really well. So those are the only items I just wanted to briefly touch on and share kind of what's been happening in the district. And like I said at the very beginning of the agenda, things are going very well as far as the numbers and the individuals that are with COVID. Unfortunately, we are seeing some individuals experiencing some more significant flu-like symptoms for a little bit longer period of time, it seems like, but still nothing nothing scary, and our numbers seem to be staying relatively low considering. So that's it.
Good. All right, then future agenda items. Anybody have anything that they'd like to see on the next agenda?
The bus thing.
The bus.
And then we'll be looking at bids, I suppose, for the roof. Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
With that, I moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.